Well, I'm going to talk about science in Bhagavad Gita. Now, first let us define science, because many people are struggling to define science, but it's a little difficult because you can define in a very narrow perspective or very broad perspective. In a narrow perspective, science is observation, hypothesis, experimentation and theory. That's science. But in a very broad perspective, science is to rationally understand something, to systematize a body of knowledge. That's science. So when you give a systematic understanding of any subject, that we call as science. For example, history. Study of history is science. If you understand the chronology of time, you're doing a scientific study. Or for example, biology. Before evolution, biology was all about morphology, putting animals according to their structures, classifying them in certain categories. So that's science. So science is something you approach and it's something rational. So when we say science in Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to show you that how Bhagavad Gita is rational. It is giving you a philosophical outlook. It is giving you why, not just what. Many religions, many spiritual people, many scriptures, they talk about what. To do this, you don't have to do this. Is it? There are rules, regulations, strictures. But Bhagavad Gita is special because it gives you why to do it. That's what we're interested in as scientists. So, why do you have to do it? Chapter 1. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to show you how many chapters Bhagavad Gita has. 18 chapters. Bhagavad Gita is a universal book now. If you talk about Bhagavad Gita, yeah, I'm going to talk. So Bhagavad Gita, if you talk about Bhagavad Gita, people think it's a Hindu book, Hinduism. Have you heard about Bhagavad Gita? Especially, yes. Have you heard about Bhagavad Gita?
Not before today.
Not before now?
Right.
Okay, good. People think it's a scripture of Hinduism, but it's not like that. Many great people, they read Bhagavad Gita. For example, Mahatma Gandhi used to read Bhagavad Gita. And he used to say, whenever I face disappointments in my life and I don't see a ray of hope, I consult the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. This is Mahatma Gandhi, okay. Any scientists? Okay, fine, yeah. Northfield Whitehead, you have heard about him? Big philosopher. He said, Bhagavad Gita is the greatest metaphysics human mind has ever conceived. Many scientists many philosophers and activists like Henry David Thoreau, he said, I bathe my intellect in the morning with knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Herman Hesse, he said that Bhagavad Gita is philosophy blossoming into wisdom. So these are scientists, these are people with intellect. And when they read this book with an open mind, they can understand that it's not a religious book. It's not a sectarian book. It is not mythology. It's not superstition. It is giving you why to the meaning of your life, to the purpose of your life. Now I'm going to show you what's there in Bhagavad Gita. I can't give you everything, but I'm just giving you a glimpse and understanding how this book proceeds. Okay, first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is, there are 18 chapters and 18 wisdom. Every chapter is to teach you one wisdom. Just like in America, you have that book, 7 Habits of, what's that?
Highly effective.
Highly successful business. Highly effective. 7. Stephen Covey?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So we have 18 habits of highly spiritual people. You can talk like that. 18 wisdom, 18 pearls which Bhagavad Gita has. First chapter has got to teach you this wisdom. Material, give me this. Okay. Material desires brings miseries. Such a simple concept, but we don't think about it. There's nothing religious about it. There are no symbols, there's no church, there's no temple, nothing. Material desires bring miseries. Now what do you mean by material desires? What do you mean by that? Material means matter. Matter, things like table, chair, your computer, your cell phone, your body, that's made of matter. Material desires means desiring for matter. Simple. Now, if you think about it, what we are doing from morning to night, day to day, month to month, years to year, what are we desiring? Matter, isn't it? If you're desiring food, that's matter. House, that's matter. Clothes, that's matter. Cell phone, that's matter. Apple, computers, that's matter. We are desiring everything matter. That's called material desires. And that will land us into sufferings. Why? You might ask why. What's the problem? Desiring only matter. There's a problem. Because if you desire matter, if you always desire matter, either you lose matter or they lose you. One day it will happen. Things will get destroyed. You lose something. When you lose something, you get frustrated. Isn't it? Somebody might steal your cell phone, somebody might steal your bike, somebody might do something. You don't get food sometime. So you're always thinking of matter, you're always thinking of your body. Whole society is geared towards this body. So you get frustrated if you don't get things for yourself, for this matter. And if you manage to get all these things, you get greedy. Isn't it? If you get money, $1 million, that's matter. If you get money, you desire more. If you get 3 billion, you want 4 billion. There's no end for that, no? There's no end. You might think if I get $4 billion, I'll be happy and peacefully say, no, that's not going to happen. Because as soon as you get $4 billion, you have somebody who has $8 billion, and you want that. You want more and more and more and more. So either if you want matter, either you end up in frustration because you don't attain that, or you end up in greed. That's the problem with that. And anger and greed, that's suffering, because if you keep on demanding in your mind things, mind is in full of anxiety. It's planning, how should I get this, how should I get that. That's obvious, no? That happens with all of us, no? And we get fear. It is said in scriptures that everyone is in fear. People who have material desires live in fear. Young people fear old age. Old people fear death. Beautiful. People who are beautiful, they fear losing their beauty. People who are rich, they fear losing their money. People who are poor, they fear their poverty. People who are scholars, they fear debates. People who are foolish, they fear insecurity of knowledge. Everybody is in fear. So, matter brings fear, anger, frustrations and greed. That is what a material desire is all about. Material desires brings miseries. You have to sit and think for this. This is proper wisdom. You have to sit and think. You don't have to just give time to yourself to think about it. It's very simple. Very simple. Do you understand? Simple, no? Now, we are always thinking of our body, my health, my beauty. It's not bad to think about it. But if you always thinking about it, then problems start. So the problem is, so the point is how to get rid of material desires. Because material desires are a problem. So second chapter of Bhagavad Gita begins with the knowledge of soul and body. There's something called spirit, something called body. Body is matter. Anything related to body is material. Anything related to soul is spiritual. You understand? But Bhagavad Gita questions now, the second chapter questions, is there any proof of soul? That's the point. any scientific proof of soul. And Gita gives you the scientific basis of existence of soul. Is there anything beyond this body? No. Okay, fine. We are thinking always about the body. We are thinking always about things related to a body. Now, is there anything beyond body? Beyond our brains? Beyond this matter? There is soul. Now, is there any evidence for that? So, Gita gives simple evidence. There is very simple evidence. First evidence is by our common sense. There are scientific evidences. Krishna says, Dehe nosminatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. He gives example. He says to Arjuna, Arjuna, apply your common sense first. Don't go to science first. First, common sense. Is it? Everything cannot be proved by science. Do you agree? Everything is not under domain of science. For example, you can't prove. Can you prove somebody loves somebody else? You don't need science for that. No? You can apply common sense. Okay, fine. Or if a patient comes to doctor and he says, "My dear doctor, I have pain." So what will doctor say? First prove me you have pain, then I'll treat you. Is it? Patient will say, "Come on, you're mad. I know I have pain." No. So for everything you don't ask proof. This habit of asking proof is not a good thing. Some things are, you have to apply common sense and you can know. So Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, okay, fine. I'll tell you that your soul, you're not this body. You see, he gives the example of, we are changing bodies, no? We are changing bodies at every moment. If you see your childhood photograph, that's different. That's different, no? Probably you yourself will not be able to recognize your childhood photograph. And when you become old, you click yourself now. Of course, everybody clicks. When you become old and you see present photograph, you'll not be able to realize this is me, no? Is it? So our bodies are changing, but we are not changing. I am I. And this problem science is facing today. There's a scientist, Rudolf Steiner. He said, according to science, every 7 years our body changes. See, every second our body is changing, according to science, no? Our blood cells change after every 120 days. Our skin cells change after 35 days. Liver cells take around 5 days. Epithelial cells, they take around 15-20 days. Everything is dying and changing. Our brain changes. After 7 years, your brain is new brain. All neurons die and they become new. Every second, 10,000 neurons are dying and they regenerate. Or maybe there is wear and tear. You understand neurons? Brain. So everything is destroying, everything is regenerating. After every 7 years, your body is different. Your brain cells have changed. But have you changed? After 7 years, do you feel, who am I? No, we are we. That I continues. You understand? That is what Descartes said. I think, therefore I am. You have heard about that? Cogito ergo sum? He said, Descartes, he went for a thought experiment. And he said, see, everything is changing. But me, myness do not change. We are we. After 7 years, I am I. After 14 years, I am I. After 15 years, I am I. And that is a problem with consciousness. Nowadays, consciousness studies, people who are studying consciousness, psychology, there is a scientist, David Chalmer. I was supposed to meet him in San Diego. He lives in San Diego. Because I meet scientists, I talk to them. And he proposed a puzzle for science. He said, why do we feel that I am I? That's a very hard problem in consciousness. I-ness continues. You're getting my point, all of you? So my body is changing, but I am I. This means I am not body. Simple. It's very simple. Any arguments? Very simple. Any suggestions? So, that is the first common sense understanding. We are separate from body. We are something separate from body. You can call us soul or something else, whatever name you give. But we are not just bodies. Okay. This is something common sense example. Now, is there any other proof that a consciousness can exist without outside body? Is there any proof for that? Is there any hints? Now, see, first point is you have to be a little open-minded to understand all these things, because sometimes science can make you blinded. And Watson Crick, you know Watson Crick? Watson Crick, who discovered DNA. He said scientists should always keep in mind that nothing exists beyond this body. He said that. You should always keep in mind. It is a bias. Science is supposed to be open to understandings. So, if you are open, you can understand many things. Now, I am going to give you examples. Now, some scientific evidence which will at least provoke you to think there is something beyond body. Something beyond body. Now, okay, I'll give you that. How do you do this? Okay, this is a person without brain. How do you do this with this person? If you say we have brains and brain is everything, what do you talk about person who is having no brain? There are some conditions called as hydrocephalus. You know hydrocephalus? It's a brain, this is water. This is water. And there's a thin layer of brain. This person, you see CT scan. This is normal person. This is his scan. And it's all black. There's no brain for it. That's the thin layer of brain. This is anterior view, this is lateral view. Everybody has brain, you know. If you say you don't have brains, what do you mean by that? And this is not me, this is new scientist quoting of, there are many people reportedly who are having normal IQ, no mental retardation, but still, when you do CT scan, they don't have brain. Doesn't science need to understand all these cases? But science doesn't want to understand because we are brain. There are certain theories to explain this, but nothing fits because this brain is just very minimal, thin, gray matter. Just 2 days back, somebody told me in India there's another child who was CT scanned and he didn't have brain. Again, hydrocephalus, condition of hydrocephalus. But the point is, we're not talking about disease, we're talking about a condition where a person doesn't have brain. So that is why the published was in this article, is your brain really necessary? That's a question they ask me. You don't need brain or what? Now the point is, science can do two things. Okay, forget this example on one side. Forget this. We don't want to consider this example. We have a theory, brain is necessary and things go on. But science is supposed to analyze all examples and then make a theory now. If you want to put this example in a theory, science has got to change. It must change. This is one example which nobody's talking about. You can go on Google and you can search. Nobody's talking about this in science. In consciousness studies, some people are talking, but nobody's interested to talk about it. This is one example. Now, okay, I'll give you another example for that. I don't know whether you know about this or not. It's the case, Pam Reynolds case. Have anybody heard about this case? Anybody? Nobody, okay. These cases are not taught in your curriculum. They'll not teach you all these cases because if they teach you, then they have to explain scientific laws must change. Nobody wants to change scientific laws which are established for 300 years. It's a paradigm shift now. So this lady, Pam Reynolds, she lives in Atlanta. She was a singer and she got this aneurysm. You know what's aneurysm? Like arteries, they swell in the brain. She got aneurysm in the brain. So there's aneurysm. And they took angiogram. That's in a brain. What's happening? So that's aneurysm in a brain. And that aneurysm was just, if this is a brain, it is below the brain here. It's here. So you have to do some surgery because if you don't do some surgery on aneurysm, it will burst and you'll get brain hemorrhage. No? Is it? Simple, you die. So she went to a neurosurgeon. She went to a neurosurgeon, and neurosurgeon, he said you need a surgery. But the problem with that is, if you want to do surgery on brain, you have to stop circulation, blood circulation, is it? To cut that brain, to go inside, you have to stop blood circulation because you are trying to prevent hemorrhage. But if you don't stop blood circulation, you end up creating more brain hemorrhage now. So you have to stop blood circulation. And to stop blood circulation, neurosurgeons, they decrease the temperature of it. We know. They decrease because I have done many operations, so I've attended, I'm not done. I'm not a neurosurgeon. But you have to decrease, and then you put heart-lung on ventilator machine, heart-lung ventilator machine, drain out all blood. So brain was practically brain dead. It was frozen, brain dead, no electrical activity. Heart stop, you circulate the blood. Breathing stops for maybe artificial respiration. Practically she's dead. She's dead. Brain death means you're dead. But the problem with the case, this is okay, every operation was done, but the problem with this case was, after the operation, she came back, she came back to consciousness, and she said to the doctor that she could see everything what was performed on the operation. She could see what instruments were used, she could hear what they were talking, she could see the operation like this from the ceiling, from the vantage point of ceiling. From up she could see what's happening down. Now how do you make a sense out of it? How do you make sense out of it? Some scientists say that she was hallucinating. Hallucination? But you don't hallucinate exact steps of a neurosurgery. You don't hallucinate that. People who take drugs, they know. I don't take drugs, but you hallucinate bizarre things, You don't hallucinate some systematic neurosurgery. Otherwise, you don't need a neurosurgery course. You just take a dope and you're a neurosurgeon. So that simple as that. You can do that. But it doesn't happen like that. So these are simple hallucinations. She was watching. In fact, there's a case recorded in New Scientist. That person was being operated, and then she sued the doctor for brain surgery. And why she sued? Because she told that, while I was being operated, I was almost brain dead, and you were operating on me, and you were flirting with the nurse. He was cutting jokes on the nurse, and she was saying, "Come on, it's my life and death, and you're joking," and I could hear that. And he was shocked. How do you hear? Because you're brain dead. Clinically, artificially induced brain death. So this case is about to change science. Although nobody is talking much about it, but if you go on Google, there are debates going on. This case is about to change science. This case proves consciousness can exist outside your body. Brain is not really necessary. And that is all spirituality all about. Spirituality, we are all scriptures, all spiritual people, they are saying, brain is not everything. It's not everything. Now go on Google, read about this. Cameron case, it's a famous case. Many other cases, there are many cases like this. So this is technically called as out-of-body experience. You have heard about it? Out-of-body experience, OBEs. There are many cases about like this, but this case is special because all those cases happened outside in the field. People got unconscious, they got out-of-body experience, they came back, and okay, fine. But this case is controlled case. She was artificially induced brain death. We know that she couldn't see, she couldn't think, she couldn't speak. It was impossible in this condition, and still she had this experience. What do you do about this? So second chapter is giving you this wisdom. Your soul, you're not this body. Now if you want to understand your soul, see, everything you can't experience, you can't see, no? Now you might say, okay, show me soul now. If we are all soul, we are not this body, show me. Everything you can't see. Some things you have to feel, no? Experience, is it? Just like I was asking you, okay, can you show me this? Can you show me your car? You can show me, okay, I can experience. If you have water, if you dissolve salt in water, then how do you know that there's salt in water? By seeing? No. To taste it, no. By taste. So some things you experience by taste, by seeing, by smell, but some things you experience by feeling. Pain. Pain you don't see, you don't smell, you don't taste. You don't experience pain by five senses. You experience pain by feeling. Am I right? And yet you are sure pain exists. So similarly soul. If you do, that's why there is meditation, there is spirituality. When you meditate, when you do spirituality, we were chanting, we're meditating on sound. When you meditate, you can experience soul within you. You can experience there is consciousness beyond this matter. It is matter of experience. It is not matter of seeing. Am I clear? This is the second wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Now I gave you some scientific examples because this is age of science. Everybody, it's not bad to speak on science, but you need some science to convince people. So of course these cases are not there in Bhagavad Gita, but I gave you just an additional thing to make you convinced that, to make you start thinking that there is something beyond matter. Okay. Third chapter talks about action. Our actions in life should be conducive to realization of soul. If we are soul, and there are hints by common sense, by science, everything is not matter, everything is not body, everything is not proteins. America, people like to talk about proteins. Proteins, everything is protein, everything is not proteins and matter and body and food and health. There are some things beyond all these things. You have to open your mind. You can't be just in a box. Science, how much science knows? Tell me how much science knows. We just know 5% of universe. We just know 0.5% of oceans. Science is having so less understanding of the universe, of the phenomena around us. It can't claim it can understand everything, no? Is it? And there are hints like this to make us understand, to make us provoke that there are things beyond. Okay, fine. I'll give you one more example that there's something beyond matter. If you know about something about brain, when you see something, the image is formed in the eyes. Everybody knows? You see images formed. And that image, it goes to brain. But the funny part is that image is formed in inverted. If I see this controller, the image of this controller is formed inverted in my eyes. You know this? And that inverted image, signals will go to my brain, and my brain will receive an inverted image of this controller. In my brain, this controller is like this. But we don't see it like that. We don't see it like that. Something is happening that we perceive it like this. Although the image is inverted. This is a big problem in psychology, inverted image problem. What do you do with that? So many scientists, they say, okay, fine. So now we have to accept that there is something, consciousness beyond this neurochemical activities of brain, which is making this image upright. There are many things like that, you can go and read. Third chapter talks about if we are soul, our actions should be conducive to understanding soul. That's what life is meant for. To meditate and realize that we are beyond this body. Everything is not this. And I told you, for this you have to meditate. Either on sound, vibration, or whatever spiritual process. It's not matter of seeing. You can't see. You have to experience. That's what is third chapter all about. So how our actions should be conducive? Simple. Don't act, don't make your life surrounded by actions which are only concerning with body. Don't do that. Don't do that. You have to spend some of your time to give to meditation. So what we do is we do mantra meditation. We were chanting just now, we do mantra meditation. So that will help us to go beyond our body and understand your soul. And there's example given. If you have a pot, you have a pot. Now in a pot you put water and you put coin in that. So coin goes on the bottom. And if you shake the pot, the water shakes. and when the water shakes and if you see the pot, you will not be able to see the coin, is it? You can't see the coin because water is shaking. But once the water stops shaking, it becomes stable, then you can see the coin on the bottom, is it? Similarly, if your mind keeps on shaking, it's not peaceful, you'll not be able to see that your soul, you're beyond this matter. That is why you have to make your mind peaceful. You have to make your life in such a way so that it's peaceful. But if you're always thinking about matter, you cannot be peaceful. You understanding me? Everybody? People who got late, I don't know. But if you're thinking on material plane, you're always disturbed. You keep on wanting things. This. If your mind is disturbed, it is like water is disturbed. And if water is disturbed, you can't see the coin on the bottom of the glass. Your mind has to be peaceful. Therefore, all spiritual practices, they demand that you should make your life you should make your life simple. You should not stuff your life with so much matter, so much stuff, and so many things in your life, so that you can't handle. And you are thinking, anxious. Then you won't realize that your soul. Okay. The question is, why do we want to know that we are soul? What's the benefit? The benefit is the fourth wisdom is soul is full of eternity, bliss and knowledge. That's the fourth wisdom, Jnana Yoga. We want to know we are soul because soul has inherent bliss and knowledge, and that is why all spiritual people they, when they meditate, they experience bliss. Is it? Everybody says no. Why? Because inherently soul is full of bliss and joy and eternity. That's spirituality all about. And when you come on the platform of soul, you know who are you. Simple. You become happy. All your things, stuff goes on. Fifth chapter talks about simple living, high thinking. This is old wisdom. Simple living, high thinking. There are some people who are called as minimalist. You have heard about them? They might become minimalist. Or they want to make their life simple. They want to get rid of stuff. So much stuff we have in our home, stuffed around us. So in America or in India also now, there's a lot of tendency to throw away things, use and throw, because we shop, we throw, we shop, we throw, and so many unnecessary things come, and people want to get rid of that stuff. So that is simple living, but that's not high thinking. They want to get rid of stuff because they're frustrated of things around them. Simple living, high thinking. Simple living, high thinking means don't entangle yourself with so many things that you can't handle. And then you don't have time to think about these matters. You don't have time to think about meaning of life. You don't have time to think about, is there something beyond body? So you have to make your life simple. You have to little modulate your life. But how to do that? How to do that? 6th chapter is talking about association with spiritual people. Simple. Simple. You have to associate. Man is known by his company. So if you associate with wise people, simple people, you get wisdom. If you associate with foolish people, you get foolishness. Is it? If you associate with people who are always talking about body, you become bodily conscious. If you associate with people who are always talking about spiritual things, you get spiritual ideas, spiritual wisdom. Association matters. That's why we are doing this program. Otherwise, what's the use of this program? Anybody can go on Google and do research, and it doesn't happen like that. Everything needs a teacher, is it? Like this university, you need a teacher, no? So if you want to learn maths, you need a teacher. If you want to learn chemistry, you need a teacher. If you want engineering, you need a teacher. But when it comes to God or spirituality, you don't need a teacher. Doesn't make sense. Everything you need a guide, you need a teacher, because there are many doubts you have to get solved. There are many questions, maybe scientific questions or spiritual questions. So 6th chapter is talking about associate with spiritual people. But now the question comes, if your soul, if you associate with spiritual people, and if you meditate, if you follow the process, you will come to understand your soul. But the question is, what is soul? What is the entity of soul? Now many people talk about soul but they talk about soul as if, okay, if you ask some mystic, what is soul? They will say it is indescribable. But that's not the description of soul. That's not a description of soul. I'm asking you a description and you're saying indescribable. That doesn't make any sense. So, 7th chapter is talking about what is identity of soul. Many mystics, many spiritual people don't have answer for this. Either they'll say it's void, or soul has nothing to do, you can't describe. No, soul has a function, soul has an identity. So just like a body craves for matter, soul craves for this super soul or God. That's what Gita talks about. Identity of soul is connected with God. We have a relationship with God. There is soul, there is super soul. Now, I explained about soul. Is there any proof of existence of God? That's what Gita now asks. Okay, how do you prove that there is God? Now, you see, it's very simple. Very simple. You don't have to apply rocket science in that. There is God. And if you keep your mind open, you can understand. There are only 2 theories which say there is no God. Evolution and Big Bang. You know about this now? Big Bang and evolution. But it's very simple to understand that I was telling. Big Bang theory says there was a bang and there's a creation, no? There's an order, systematic creation. But the problem with Big Bang is, I was telling, I attended a conference with the Nobel Prize winner, Vikram Singh. He was there, and I was with him. And he was speaking on Big Bang something, and he was talking about cosmological microwave background, data. So I was just hearing, and then I asked, then one boy from 12th grade, he has a question. He asked, so my dear sir, can you tell me what caused this Big Bang? What caused that bang? And you know what he answered? He said, you're not allowed to ask this question. You're not allowed to ask this question. So Big Bang, okay fine, there's a Big Bang. But somebody has to cause that Big Bang, that bang. And first of all, what exploded? Now science says nothing exploded into something. Seriously, that's science. Nothing became something. That's hardcore science. Scientists say that. But we don't have any experience that from nothing comes something. So, and there are many scientists who are now saying, who are now contradicting Big Bang theory. Big Bang theory is out. There are many books written, Big Bang never really happened, Big Bang under fire, bye-bye to Big Bang. Things are changing because they don't have any explanation. If there is a painting, there is a painter. If there is a creation, there is a creator. Simple. It's ABCD, that's all finished. It's simple. Do you understand? Is there any rocket science? You have to do research in this or what? No. There's no research. Simple. There is a God. There is an intelligent being. You can talk like that. Either, see, you can choose 2 things. Either you can say this word started from non-living thing. It's one option. Another option is this word started with a living thing. There are two options, no, that's all. But you have to choose. You have to choose finally. So what do you choose? You choose a living thing or a non-living thing. If you choose a non-living thing, then you don't have design, you don't have systematic order, what we see in the universe. You don't have creation. Because so that's about Big Bang. And evolution, what about evolution? You see, previous to evolutionary theory, people used to believe in God. Suppose if you take a flower is so beautiful, no? Is it? And it's ordered, all petals are of same size. So people used to wonder how this beauty and how this order has come about. Then evolution theory came, and it said things evolved. Now how to explain evolution theory? Genetics, is it? So this order and beauty comes from genes. It's all genes. But now, I've written a book, Science Fails to Explain Life, and now scientists are puzzled by genetic theory. Genes are not sufficient to explain order and beauty in this universe. They are totally insufficient because they are getting confused as genetics are advancing. They are getting confused. For example, grapes are having more genes than humans. You know this? A mice is having mice. If you take genetic makeup of a mice and if you take genetic makeup of a human, they are exactly the same. How do you explain all these things? So things are becoming more puzzled. And by the way, there is a question which has no solution for that. What about information? Genes have information, okay. Now how do you make beauty and order? You need some information, you need a code. Who has put information in genes, in genetic code? Somebody has to code now. Am I making sense? Why do you all keep quiet? You have to say something. I can't. You all know genes. I'm not talking about this genes. I don't know whether you know, understand or not. You're talking about genes, which are in cell. So, if genes has to make order, has to give order and beauty to this universe, they should have some information. And information has to be coded in the genes. Who has put information in genes? Nobody has any idea. Just like matter and energy cannot be destroyed, cannot be created, information cannot be destroyed, cannot be created, that's science. There's a third law, a fourth law. Law of information, everybody knows that. From where that information comes? It can't exist just in air. No? Information means intelligence, no? Information cannot be without intelligence. Information is semantics and not syntax. If I throw some letters here, A, B, C, D, F, G, nothing sensible will come out. Some intelligence has to arrange in sentence. So information demands intelligence, and that's how you prove existence of God. There's information in genes. From where? It can't evolve. Information doesn't evolve. You can't create information. So existence of God is quite simple, just like existence of soul. It is, if you open your mind, it's simple. There is something intelligent being above us. And chapter 8 talks about earning God's grace. That's what chapter. Many people talk about spirituality without God. Because God means religion. But God has nothing to do with religion. Religion term itself was founded, it is a very late, this word is technically coming from Greek. Religare means faith. Of course, there are many bad things happen to the religion, crusades and so many things. People blame religion. But at the same time, people don't see good part of the religion. Everything, to say this society, there are so many bad things happening. Your factories, suppose, industries, they are creating pollution. Is it? So all industries are bad, is it? That's my conclusion now. No, you control pollution. And you keep industries. So if something happened in religion, all religion is not bad. You control the bad things and keep the good things. It is as simple as that. You can't blame religion for whatever wars were happening, so many people died, Holocaust or crusades or whatever you want to put there, terrorism. That's the problem with people who understand religion. It's not with religion itself. So, spirituality is to do with soul and God, both. You may call it as spirituality or religion, whatever you want, but it's not sectarian. The purpose of human life is to earn God's grace, because without God's grace you will not be able to realize your soul. Now we know we are soul, we have knowledge, but we don't have realization. Is it? Realization and knowledge are very different things. For example, if I ask you, if a lion will come in if you allow a lion to come in this room, what do you do? What do you do? Run? Run or
Scream.
Talk to him.
Talk to him. Okay, fine. You know what small babies, small children, they keep on thinking in their mind now. Small children, they keep on talking to themselves. So if you ask children, if a lion comes Probably he'll say, well, I will, you know what I'll do? I'll stand on the table and then show him a gun and then make him fear and afraid him, and then, some kind of ideas he will have. But when real lion comes in, what's going to happen? You'll not be able even to run. You know what? You can't fight, you can't have flight. You'll freeze at that moment. The real situation is different than simply mere theoretical knowledge. We think we'll do this, but when circumstance comes, we can't do anything. We think, exams will go, we'll answer all questions. But when we face the examiner, we forgot everything, no? It happens like that to all of us. That is realization. Examination is realization, how much knowledge you have. Before that, you can think whatever you want, but you'll not be able to do at that time. Similarly, realization of soul is different, knowledge is different. To realize your soul, you need help. You need grace. That is why in spirituality there is role of God. Without help, we will not be able to understand we are not this body. We are soul. That realization will not come. It's difficult to have that realization. Very difficult. So 8 chapters speaks about earning God's grace. 9 chapters says, okay, how do you get grace of God? By service. You have to serve Him. Simple. How do you serve Him? Very simple. It's not a big thing. How do you serve Him? Just like now you are serving God by hearing about Him, no? That's service, no? Service means you are spending your time. That's service. Service means you are doing something for that person. So spending time. Just like we were chanting the name of God. Yeah.
Just like you were saying earlier about thinking outside of the body, the box, basically.
Yeah,
so that
right.
would be a form of service.
Okay, fine. That's our service. Yeah, that's the first step of service. Yeah, good. And then chanting His names, that service. Understanding that knowledge, that service. Associating with people whom you can understand this knowledge, that service. It's all service. And it helps us. That's 9th chapter talking about. And if you... Now many people talk about God, but they don't have information about God. Who is He? So 10th and 11th chapter is talking about God is supremely powerful. Omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent. You have heard about it? Creator, maintainer and destroyer. That's God. Google is also omniscient. If Google can be omniscient, God can be omniscient too, no? A stupid, simple machine can be omniscient. How can God be omniscient? It's not a difficult thing to understand. Simple. He's much more powerful than us. So, but the point is, 12th chapter talks about God is also sweet. It's not just power. It's not just surrender and power. No. God is having both qualities. He's sweet and powerful. And that is why the purpose of human life is to understand Him and develop love for Him. That's the purpose of human life. Okay, this is not 44, this is 14 chapter. I think it's a fancy problem, typing problem. So 13, 14 chapter talks about when you do meditation and you try to understand who you are and you serve God and you try to understand who God is, there will be some obstacles. Is it? Anybody has tried meditation there? There are 2 obstacles. 13th chapter is talking about obstacles within yourself. 14th is obstacles outside yourself. Within us, obstacles is when you do meditation, your mind is a big obstacle. No? It keeps on running. It will not stop. This merely shows that you are not mind. Is it? If you are mind, you could have controlled it. You are different from mind. You are something which you are trying to control mind. That is called consciousness. Simple now. So there is an obstacle. A mind will keep on running here and there. And there is an external obstacle. Your friends, society, they'll create doubts. Come on, you go to spirituality, you go to God. Why are you wasting time? Let's hang around in McDonald's. There's McDonald's there? I don't know what's it. KFC, maybe KFC. In India they have McDonald's. So this is not the age to go into spirituality. This is the age to enjoy hang around and no, this is not the point. So people will create doubts, people will demoralize you, people will reduce your confidence, and we have to face both these obstacles. How to get rid of these obstacles, internal and external? We have chapter 15. We have to accept guidance. That's why we need guidance. We need teacher. He can help you. He can help you to surpass these obstacles. Your doubts. If you have some doubts, you can ask. Your mind is not peaceful. He can give you tips to make your mind settled. He can help you to mold your life in a healthy, peaceful, satisfied way, so that you can understand what you're supposed to understand and perfect your life. You can be happy after all. Okay, this is important. 16 and 17 chapter. Now, when you are practicing spirituality, you need to know whether you are advancing or not advancing. Is it? You need to know that, no? Or you're doing anything, you need to know what is happening. That's science. So when you practice spirituality, two symptoms should be there. 16th chapter is talking when you are understanding who you are and who God is. First symptom is you will develop good qualities. It's simple, no? It's not difficult. You develop good qualities. You get free of anger, greed, envy, because now you are no longer thinking about matter. You develop good qualities. Good qualities means mercy, ahimsa, satyam, saucham, tapa, arjavam, simplicity. That's what Gita says. Then peaceful composure. All these good qualities will come in. And determination. 17th chapter talks about determination. You get determination. You get determined in your knowledge about God, knowledge about soul. You can't be confused by people. In fact, you can help them to understand spirituality much better. So two qualities. That's what is religion all about. Gita defines religion not as a sect. There's a definition of religion in 17th chapter. Swabhav adhyatma uchyate. Religion, spirituality, all these things have to do with change of your nature. If your nature doesn't change, what's the point of doing anything? Okay, I'm practicing spirituality. So what's the result? You're the same person all along. Nothing changes. That's not spirituality. And 18th chapter summarizes and it requests you to search for the meaning of human life, that is to understand who you are and who God is. This is what is Bhagavad Gita all about. Thank you very much. Is there any questions now? I summarized everything. Yes?
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So initially you made a statement saying science does not change. Like you provided several points saying, science does not change to this new evidence. But that's not the case. If you have sufficient evidence, science will always change. That is the point of science.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But science is biased on the fact that there's nothing beyond matter.
No, science is not biased on that. There is no measurable, if it has to be measurable. There are certain tests that science has to do.
Well, I think.
Oh, you were talking about near-death experience.
Yeah, I gave evidence of man doesn't have brain. What do you do with it?
I was not there for that.
There are some evidence. I showed a scan. Some people who don't have brain.
It's not really that it doesn't, it's just condensed. You
Yeah,
can see on the sides.
No, but
So it does not mean that there isn't any material stuff there. It's just that those neurons are compressed and maybe whatever memories
No,
inside.
brain has grey matter and white matter. Now this person, he doesn't have white matter. It's just grey matter, thin layer. So he doesn't have an important integral part of brain. White matter is not there. Corpus callosum is not there. It is grey matter. And we all know by science, there are many functions which are attributed to white matter and corpus callosum. That's not there. Nobody is able to
But
explain.
it's the grey matter that holds the memory and basically the thinking being.
No, grey matter doesn't hold memory. Grey matter only holds external psychological functions. Functions of hearing, seeing, all this memory, vital functions are in white matter, in the middle oblongata white matter, it's there. It's not there. Feelings are there in hippocampus. White matter is not there.
So
How does he feel that?
So the person has no white matter.
Yeah, he doesn't have internal white matter.
But you're saying still the person is able
Yes,
to
still
feel.
he can do. So it's not that his brain is compressed. He is missing a component. Can you open that slide? Huh? Can you open that slide? Yeah, I can open that slide. It's here. It's here. It's here. He's having no gray matter. He's having no white matter. This is white matter. This is for limbic functions, for emotions, for feelings. But still he has. It's not his brain is compressed. He just have gray matter. That also thing there.
Well, the question is your brain really necessary, right? And the question is for what? Like, is he going to play a game of chess? Then probably not. But can he just have like a life in a dark room, just his heart is...
Well, it says there he's reasonable.
He says, I've written, his IQ is almost average. He is a student of Harvard, by the way.
Oh, okay.
He is there, he's a student of Harvard.
Does it speak about Harvard?
Well, he's quite normal now. What do you do with it? So that's...
Okay, there is probably something to that.
So that's what I was requesting, Science should be open. It should
Yes,
understand.
I think in this case it will be. There will probably be more studies that will be done, and there might be something that will come out of this.
Yeah, okay. If there might be something, then science should teach also. Science should not say that everything is brain, everything is matter.
Well, this is new evidence. You can't expect. This came out in 2007, and you can't expect the most cutting-edge science to be taught in schools.
Okay. So science should not say that there is no soul, no consciousness outside body.
I don't think
Science doesn't
makes
say
a
that.
claim that there's no soul.
Many scientists are...
That is their personal opinion.
Yeah,
As a
it's a primitive
science can never say claim that there's no God or there's no
Okay,
soul.
so it should be taught in academia.
That science,
Why
it
it's
could
not
be
there?
possible.
Huh?
That soul could be possible.
Yeah, why not?
Why
Why not? Why it's not
Well,
taught
why
in
does
the
it have to be?
universities?
Okay, there are a lot of other things that could be possible. Why do you have to say soul is possible? Why can't it be anything else? You can make up anything that could be possible and which we don't know about. Why does it have to be soul? You have a preconception because you come from a religious text that says there is a soul.
Well, it's not religion because it's not just one hint. I mean, you're also talking about out-of-body experiences. How do you explain?
Out-of-body experiences are hallucinations.
No,
and that
okay,
has been
fine.
studied.
See, that's what I was putting this
Yes,
example on this. And
That is a controversial case, but
so the point is, what science cannot explain, it puts in controversy.
yes, that
But
is a
the point
controversy
is,
because
people who are experiencing these
people
things.
experience a lot of things. There are a lot of drugs that can put into a lot of hallucinations. It doesn't
I'll
mean
tell you
anything.
drugs cannot hallucinate. People who are taking drugs, they cannot hallucinate four things.
That's your assumption.
No,
They
no.
can do a lot of things. You don't know about hallucinations.
Wait. Drugs cannot give you, people who are taking drugs, they can't give you a proper explanation of any neurosurgical process.
Again, that's your assumption.
There's nothing. There's nothing science which said it is all people who deal with drug addicts. They say drugs doesn't produce systematic knowledge of anything. It is all gibberish hallucinations. That's all.
See, even I was of your opinion, but recently I saw a documentary like A Proof of Heaven. It's about a neuroscientist.
Oh yeah, that person.
Yeah, he goes into he has this near-death experience. He goes into coma and he experienced a lot of stuff. And when he comes out, he has very bad bacterial meningitis. It's a very deadly disease, and he.
Yeah, actually, I'll speak about him. He's a neurosurgeon, and he suffered from meningitis. So his whole brain was overtaken by meningitis. Now,
Like the part that they say that creates hallucination, that part only was affected. When he came out, his doctors were like, this must be a hallucination, and he was also convinced by that. But then when he went back and looked at it, the part that creates what doctors say that create hallucination, that part was itself affected. So there was no possibility of that being affected, being hallucination. So he researched on that, and that you can have a look if you have.
There are things which point out towards something that consciousness can work beyond matter. Why we were not taught all these things in our schools and universities? Why we were not taught about all these things?
That's a simple answer for that. Because schools teach what you want to learn money. That's it.
So then, okay, fine. So that's why we are having this class, to tell you, there's something beyond this.
Yes, unless you prove that this...
If it is all money, then...
Well, I mean, Bhagavad Gita and those things were curriculum in India, what, like 200 years back or 500 years back, because...
Why?
Because that
I mean,
teaches
industrial
how to...
revolution happened and everything changed after that.
Now people just want
Everything changes, yeah, but if there are some hints that there is consciousness working beyond matter, it's not just hints. People all around the world who are practicing spirituality, they are experiencing also. It's not, everybody cannot hallucinate. I mean to say, everybody is not mad, and it's not a conspiracy that we want to make people deluded, no. It's not like that. There are people who are experiencing it. Now I just told that soul can be experienced, it can't be seen or tasted, just like pain. So you experience, there are people, there are some hints, there are evidences why this body of knowledge is not open to people. Okay, fine, this is there and this is possible. If it's not taught you in schools, we are telling you this. Let's try to understand this. What's the harm in that? No, there's no harm in understanding that.
I mean,
And-
I accept there's no harm.
Yeah, I mean to say, and if we understand we are soul, and if there is a possibility there is soul, and if we follow the process, see, everything you have to follow the process. Suppose if you go to a cyclotron Formula, and you ask, okay, fine, can you show me quarks? Well, he will tell you, fine, first you have to take some training for 10 years, because if he shows that plate of quarks, that magnetic plate, we'll say, come on, what's happening? It's nonsense. There are some bizarre lines, no? That's what, we can't see quarks. To interpret that result, we need a lot of training. Similarly, you need some training. If you follow this process, you will realize that you're not this body, you're consciousness, you're separate from matter. And there are people doing that. What's the problem in that? And if you do that, then if you're on a spiritual platform, you'll be more happy, more self-contented, because now you're no longer working for body. You're no longer working only for matter. Is it? You're not running after matter, you're not running after fulfilling demands of your body only. It helps you. You're more peaceful, you're more satisfied, you're more happy. That's all. So why not just try this knowledge once? Why is it not available? We are making it available. Just try it. Simple.
I don't think it is still available unless, like you said, it's in the curriculum of school.
Yeah, so that's what we want to put it in curriculum of school. We want this.
That's fine.
You can sit here.
You can come in.
Here.
So you were talking about evolution and Big Bang.
Yeah.
What you're saying essentially is there's some things that evolution cannot explain or Big Bang or people don't know yet, and you're saying so God did it.
No, I'm not saying
it is
this.
because there is a soul. It's just that people don't know today. There might be more information that comes out later on that might prove any other way. I don't know. So why is your default state that I don't know, but rather than that God exists? Why does it have to be that if you don't know something, you don't know something? It's not that something else has to be true.
No, it's not just don't know. It is that without an intelligent being, this creation is not possible. Whatever information you take, because suppose if Big Bang theory is out, you get another theory. No matter how much explanation you give, everything is combination of atoms and molecules. That's what science has now. That's what science has. But atoms and molecules cannot think, cannot produce information. Information needs intelligence. Without information, atoms and molecules cannot form anything. To make formation, you need information.
That doesn't make sense because information is any energy. Energy is created regardless of intelligence. If there's solar energy, that can create more complex systems. That is what created life.
How can it create complex?
There were certain mechanisms that happened, certain reactions.
No, what kind of mechanism? No, wait. No, what kind of mechanism? There is no mechanism. With science, there is no mechanism. They say there are certain kind of mechanisms.
That's what I'm getting at. Because I'm saying we don't know what mechanisms created life.
See, the point is simple. Non-living substance cannot think. There cannot be information. So no matter how much complex theory you can make out of non-living things, it cannot create information with itself. It's non-living. This cannot think. So any order, any systematic thing you see, there is information, you need intelligence. Your explanation need intelligence at any point of time. No matter how much complex your theories are, because they are non-living. Suppose brain. Now people used to say brain produces consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay, neurons?
Yeah.
But the point is, neurons are simple chemicals.
Yeah.
So, it is foolishness to say that some chemicals come and they produce consciousness. How? Matter cannot produce life. And it has been disproved long ago. Louis Pasteur, he disproved that life comes from matter. You know pasteurization?
No, what he disproved was that there was spontaneous generation.
Yes, spontaneous generation of life.
Well, you don't have the spontaneous generation of life. What you have are complex chemical reactions that eventually come together to build the simple molecular life that you see. Whether or not that actually requires a being or not is irrelevant, because theoretically we should be able to just recreate it in the lab at some point.
Yes, so see, the point is, Louis Pasteur said he showed that there is no spontaneous generation of life. Okay, so life doesn't come from matter.
Right, but
okay, fine.
The experiment that he was doing was that he took a pile of stuff, put it in a glass jar, and then twisted it off, boiled it, sterilized it, and then showed that there was no life spontaneously coming from it. But the thing is there were no chemical reactions going on. It was completely sterile. So the point I'm getting at is your example of life spontaneously coming out of nowhere is somewhat of it's a misrepresentation of the original experiment.
No, we are trying to say he gave certain kind of logic, certain kind of hint, because previous to him people used to believe life comes from matter, and it was very easy to understand. Okay, chemicals react and consciousness, life comes. But he gave he blocked certain kind of understanding. Okay, life cannot come from matter. But I understand your point. You are talking about chemical reactions. Okay, complex chemical reactions can produce life. By the way, I've written a book, Science Fails to Explain Life, and this is again, scientists are proposing a solution. Okay, life emerges from complex chemical reactions. Okay, but the point is, chemicals are dead. We don't have even definition of life now. How do you think chemicals react and they produce emotions and consciousness? Nobody has any idea. Nobody has any idea how to begin that theory. It's a proposal. And they're trying in laboratory. Our proposal is there is life beyond complex reactions. It's a proposal. We are also proposing. They are also proposing. They are trying their experiments. We are asking you to do experiment, do meditation, and you'll come to know. Both of them asking experiments. We are also saying, they are also saying. There is a proposal, we are having a proposal. Why don't you try this as well? What's the harm? It's experiment. Just experiment, that's all. Finish.
I'm an agnostic person. Could you elaborate more on the existence of God? I'm open for that. So the thing is, you said we don't know the origin of Big Bang, so someone should have created it. Then the counter argument is, for someone to come, who created him, then who really is God?
Well, that's an infinite regress. Okay, someone created, then somebody else created, then somebody else created. Okay. That's an infinite regress. So, if you're talking philosophically and logically, infinite regress is a fallacy. You can't go infinitely. So that is why we have to accept a certain value to stop. By the way, definition of God is there is no cause of God. He's a cause of all causes. That's how we define him. So you can't go beyond the definition. We can answer this question. That's a valid question. Who created God? Then who created God?
Actually, there was a speaker who came here to Bhakti Yoga once. If I remember correctly, he said something to the effect of, well, you could ask who created the universe, and then you could ask who created that God, and who created that God, and who created that God, and go on and on forever. So if you can go on and on forever like that, there must be some sort of omnipotent supreme Lord who is infinite. in his being and in his presence, because that expansion goes on forever towards eternity and infinity.
I mean, yeah. Talking of like infinity, space is infinite, right? So could you say space is God? Because no one has an explanation yet for dark energy. So explaining space.
Dark energy is another kind of thing. But, well, space is dead. God is not dead. We are already saying it's intelligent. That's all. That's a proposal.
Yeah.
That's so.
I mean, yeah. The thing is, I haven't read Bhagavad Gita, so I cannot make a valid conclusion. But yeah, I should
just believe in Big Bang. That's part of it.
My 20 cents on your question would be, if you don't need to prove whether God exists, but you can ask why there should be someone called as a God.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I've asked the question many times.
Yeah, and the way science explains it, like unique. If Bhagavad Gita has been authored by a God, like when you read a book, you first see who wrote that book. If I wrote a book on how to live life, would you read it? No, you'll be like, who are you? Like, are you an engineer or whatever? But if God writes it and somebody says God has written it, then you'll be like, okay, there is something in it. But for that you have to first believe, and then you read the book, right?
See, the point is, many people have read these scriptures. Okay, it's not me. It's not just me. I'm not talking something from my end. Many people believe. Many people followed it. Many people experienced. Now, either you can say all experiences are wrong. They're all mad people. And you can put it in one go and finish. Everything is finished. But the point is, if these books are there for so many millions of years, people are following, people are experiencing, then why don't they give a try?
Yeah.
And they're happy, they're satisfied in life. People who are not following these things, they're not happy. They are so frustrated. They are always full of anxiety. So that's what Prabhupada used to say. That's why these books are saying, try once. And either side there's a proposal. It's not that science knows that life comes from chemical reaction. Nobody has any idea how to even begin experiments to show that life comes from complex chemical reactions. Nobody has any idea. Nobody even knows how to form an equation for that. They're just starting, it's beginning. But at the same time, there are some hints.
Yeah, theory of everything is ongoing research.
Yeah, it's going on. So the point is, one way is you can just keep on ongoing, and you die and finish. And you're not happy, you're not satisfied, you don't know what's happening. There's another way, simple. You don't have to spend all your life in that. You have to spend all your life. Read books, read this book, try to follow this for some point of time. And if you don't realize, finish. That's all. It's so simple. That's simple.
You said that chapter 4 speaks about soul is full of bliss, eternity and knowledge. What do you mean by knowledge in this context?
Knowledge?
Yeah.
Knowledge means realizations. Knowledge means knowledge of God. Not knowledge of everything. Knowledge of God.
That's the last question.
Yeah.
In one of the chapters you said associate with spiritual people.
Yeah.
When I hear that, correct me if I'm wrong, I hear about caste.
Hear about?
I hear caste because you say associate
Caste,
with spiritual
caste.
people. Caste system, the caste system in India.
No.
I hear, okay, associate with spiritual people, associate yourself. I mean, Brahmins should associate with Brahmins and other castes should associate with themselves. That is what I hear. Explain yourself.
Yeah, this is not, we're not talking about caste system. We're not talking about particular Brahman, Kshatriyas or Shudras. We're not talking about that. Spiritual people means who have knowledge of scriptures. Who have knowledge of scriptures, they are spiritual. Who doesn't have knowledge of scriptures, they might show them as spiritual, but they are not spiritual. Spiritual people are those who have experiences, who have realizations in their life. They are spiritual people. They can be passionate, no problem. It's not necessarily they have to be mad dressed. It can be anybody who has realizations, who is following the process sincerely. He is spiritual man. Right? So who is trying to search for truth. He is spiritual. He is spiritual. That's a spiritual. spiritual. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. There are no questions. And I just want to...
What spiritual person, if it's converted into any male language, I will call him as yogi.
What?
Yogi.
Yeah, yogis are there.
Are they? Do we call them spiritual? Because what my mother used to tell about spiritual means yogi. The yogi, like
You can call them as yogis.
yeah.
But spiritual awareness was spiritual knowledge and realization. You have different terms.
I just had a quick question. I'm sorry, I missed your presentation. I couldn't understand this stuff. You said earlier in response to his question, people without having... I just want to clarify your statement. You said that people without spirituality are unhappy, or is it people without without Krishna are unhappy, or is it just in general spirituality, or?
It's spirituality. Without understanding spiritual knowledge, understanding God, anyhow, you'll be unhappy. That's what I began the seminar with.
Okay.
Because if we are working on bodily platform, we're always thinking about our needs. We are not self-satisfied because we are thinking we are this machine, we are body. So we need, and we become full of anxieties and we are unhappy. If you are on a spiritual platform, you are self-satisfied. And you know you are different from body. And there's realization.
And there are different ways of
Yeah,
spirituality.
and different ways. That's okay. My point of this seminar is start thinking. And try to do something with your life. Don't just sit around and it's nothing. That's a bad way of living life, no? Is it? Just try it, that's all. Thank you very much for listening. And this is Bhagavad Gita. I was talking about this book. I just explained this book for you. But there are many things here. Just give a reading to this book. It's important to read this book. I would say you read many novels. Why not this novel? It's a novel. You can take it as a novel. And I'm pretty sure you'll benefit from reading this. There are many wisdom, many ancient wisdom, many people, wise people that teaching you many things. Everybody's not a fool. And you can read these books. Bhagavad Gita. Some books I have written book Crazy Ideas. We are discussing about so many questions now. So I just named this Crazy Idea. That's all. That's my thing. So there are many things I come across. Whatever I could gather, I could answer from books, from scriptures. I put it here with some scientific valid arguments to provoke your thinking. At least we can start thinking about all these things. And we have, and this is that book, Science Fails to Explain Life, about the complex chemical reactions and life and all this stuff. I've written here all because I'm into field of genetics. I was. So I've written how science has failed to explain life. What are the alternative models to explain life, Vedic model to explain life, which can explain it better. All these things I've explained in this book. If you want these books, you can take this. And again, thank you very much, all of you, for attending and asking questions. That was nice.